G'day everyone, welcome to Inside Rugby with Mark. In this video I'm going to take a look at the game that's going to take place this weekend between Wales and South Africa at the Principality Stadium in Cardiff. Let's get into the video. G'day everyone, welcome to a very wet day here in Cancun in Mexico. And I'm pleased I'll be able to get outside and at least have a chat to you all about this wonderful game that's coming up between Wales and South Africa this weekend. Now, a lot of you will be thinking that this is going to be one-way traffic, but I want to put your minds back to the second 20 minutes of the first half against Australia last weekend. I thought Wales played very, very well in that second period of the first half, and if they're able to put together that kind of performance over 60, 70 or even 80 minutes against South Africa, then they've got to be in with a little bit of a chance. So let's not write Wales off just yet. Now in this video I'm going to have a look at the two teams, give you my thoughts around the selections that we've seen from both coaches, and then talk about what's likely to happen in this game in the weekend. So let's get into it. And first of all, we'll start off with the Welsh team. So starting off first of all with the forwards for Wales, and we're going to see Thomas, Dowie Lake and Griffin in the front row. I thought Griffin did really well against the Australians until James Slipper came on in the second half last weekend. Moving on to the locks for Wales, and we're going to see Rowlands and Shuhanza. And that's going to be an interesting selection. Obviously, Warren Gatland is looking for size and brutality against the Springboks team wherever he can find it. And that's why I think we're seeing Shuhanza start this particular game. And then the back three in the forwards for Wales, we're going to see Botham, Morgan and Plumtree. Very good back three if they're on their game, but as we know, they're up against some pretty good players in the Springboks team. But let's see how they go. Jack Morgan, of course, has been playing outstanding in a Welsh jersey, and Plumtree's had a couple of good games this year as well, so let's see what he can do against the Springboks. So there's the starting 8 for the Welsh. Now let's have a look at their forwards that'll be coming off the bench. So the bench forwards for Wales will be Elias, Smith, Azarati, Thomas and Raffle. So will that be enough to withstand the obvious onslaught from the South Africans? I don't think it will be, but let's see what they can do. Raffle, of course, has been playing good rugby this year, I think, in a Wales team that hasn't been going that well overall for sure after losing 11 games in a row. So let's have a look at the back line for Wales now. And first of all, at halfback, we've got to see Bevan. And then we're going to see Sam Costello in at number 10. And I'm not a big fan of this guy at all. I've seen him play some shockers for Wales, and it's usually when he's under a lot of pressure. And boy, is he going to get a lot of pressure from the Springboks team this weekend. So Sam Costello is a big gamble as far as I'm concerned from Warren Gatland. But let's see how he goes at number 10. And then outside him, we've got Ben Thomas, and then we've got Llewellyn in the number 13 jersey. Then moving on to the wings for Wales, and we're going to see Rio Dyer coming back into this Welsh team on one wing, and on the other wing, we're going to see young Rogers. And now he played his first game for Wales last weekend. I thought he was the best player on the field for Wales until he got taken off. Had an outstanding game, looked very, very dangerous, so I'm going to be excited to see what he can potentially do against the Springboks this weekend. And then at fullback, it's Blair Murray, who's moved from the wing to fullback. This is an interesting selection as well. Let's see how he goes. So as we can see, Warren Gatland's made some decisions to change around a few positional areas here. It's going to be interesting to see how they go, particularly Sam Costello at number 10. This could be a very pivotal part of the game for the Welsh team. So that's the starting back line for Wales, and then coming off the bench we're going to see Williams, James and Hathaway. So interesting selections again from Warren Gatland. After you've lost 11 games in a row, I guess experimenting is the way to go to see whether or not he can come up finally with a combination that can do this Welsh jersey proud. It's going to be really interesting, of course, to see whether Warren Gatland holds on to his job after this particular game, no matter whether or not Wales win, lose or draw. Okay, so that's the Welsh team that's going to take on the world champions, and let's have a look at what Rassie Erasmus has done in terms of his last selection of a Springboks team for 2024. And as we all know, we've seen an enormous amount of over 50 players selected for the Springboks this year, and it's been a great experiment, I think, from Rassie, giving all these players a go against world-class competition throughout the year and he's continued that trend now right until the last game, and I'm a big believer in that. Okay, let's have a look at the Springboks now, and starting off in their forwards in the front row is going to be Oxenchair, Grobler and Thomas du Toit. Thomas the Tank is back in again, and we'll have to see how he goes. A lot of you have been upset that Oxenchair didn't get a nomination for Player of the Year. I'm on that list as well. I think he deserved at least to be a nominee in that competition, but I'm sure he'll come out and prove himself again in the weekend. And then in the locks for South Africa, we're seeing a new combination here for this year. We're seeing Jean Klein and Franco Mostad. So it'll be interesting to see how these two boys go. And obviously set piece is going to be an interesting part of this game. They're up against a couple of big boys from Wales, so keep your eye on the lineouts in particular in this game. Then moving into the back three and the forwards for South Africa, and another change around here of the combination more or less. We're seeing Siya Kolisi, Elric Lowe and Jasper Wiese. So that will be a very formidable back three, of course. And as I said, Plumtree and the boys, Jack Morgan, are going to have to be really on their game. I think Siya Kolisi's been playing really well this year. He's usually an understated player when it comes to the Springboks team because he does a lot of great work beyond his leadership on the field, and I think he's been playing really good rugby indeed for the Springboks. So there we go, that's the starting 8 for the Springboks. Formidable as far as I'm concerned, and they're really going to take it to this Welsh team. Let's see how Wales go in the forwards. This is going to be an interesting thing because against Australia I thought they did very well for that first half until James Slipper came on and worked out how to deal with Archie Griffin. And then it's the bomb squad that'll come on for South Africa, and it doesn't get any better, does it? So we're going to see Malcolm Marx, Gerhard Steenenkamp and Vincent Koch as far as the front row comes on. Then we're going to see Eben Etzebeth come off the bench along with R.G. Schneemann. I see Cameron Hanekom come on for the Springboks, which is fantastic. Have been wanting to see him play for the Springboks all year, and he's going to get his chance now against this Welsh team this weekend. So fantastic bench for the Springboks. Now let's have a look at the back line for the Springboks, and there's some interesting selections here as well. And particularly at number 9 and number 10, we're going to see Jaden Hendricksy and we're going to see Jordan Hendricksy. And this will be an absolute milestone for the Springboks, seeing these two players come on. And I'm really interested to see how Jordan goes in that number 10 jersey. So let's keep an eye on him. And then moving out to the centres for the Springboks, and we've got the dependables out there again. It's Damien Deolandi and Jesse Krill, 12 and 13. Not much more needs to be said about those guys. And then on the wings, we've got the flying pair of Cheslin Colby and Kurt-Lee Ardenser. And boy, those two can score tries, and probably will, from anywhere on the pitch. And then at fullback for the Springboks, we've got Fassi filling that position. So there we go. That's the starting back line for the Springboks, and the two substitutes coming off the bench. One is Cobus Reinhardt, covering the halfback, of course, and some other positions that he can cover, and also Andre Pollard. So once again, if we don't see Jordan Hendricksy controlling the game in the way that Rassie wants, we'll probably see Andre Pollard come on the field as we did with Mane Lebok last weekend against England. So there we go, that's the Springboks team for this game against Wales. Now, what do I think is going to happen in this game? Now, I know that probably 99% of you are going to be writing Wales off already in this game, but I tell you what, I think if they play like they did in the second half of that game against Australia last weekend, at least they've got a chance of being competitive against the Springboks. The big thing for this Welsh team is that they're going to have to stay in the game mentally, because as soon as they fall off, we're going to see the South African team absolutely dominate. And we could see what happened in the second half between Wales and Australia when Wales went to sleep a little bit. And if that happens against the Springbok team, then we're going to see the likes of Cheslin Colby and Fassi and Ardenser score a lot of tries against this Welsh team. And even before that, I think we're going to see Damien Deolandi and Jesse Krill get more involved in this game. I think the Springboks are going to try and play it wide. The roof is going to be closed at the Principality Stadium, so conditions will be perfect, and it'll give the Springboks an opportunity to go out on a high at the end of this 2024 international season. I'm also sure that the power that the Springboks are going to be bringing off the bench is also going to be problems for Wales. Probably expect Malcolm Marx to get a try. There you go, I'm putting that out there already. and also expect to see some good things from Corbus Reinhardt and also Andre Pollard when they come on, because I think they bring a different dimension to the game than what it's going to be from the start. I'm a little bit upset we're not seeing Grant Williams this weekend. I was hoping to see him get a run against Wales. I think that could have been really interesting, but he's not there. So I think this is going to be another game where the Springboks dominate in the forwards early on. That's going to set up the platform for their backs to run wild, and I think we're going to see what we didn't see against England last weekend, and that's probably because England were another level than what we're going to see from Wales, and their South Africans are going to be able to therefore run in a lot more tries. Lines back to last weekend, the Springboks put on 29 points against England, and they really didn't get into 4th or 5th gear. So that scares me a little bit of potentially what they could do against this Welsh team, and we saw it when Australia put their pedal on the metal in the second half of that game last weekend against Wales. If the Springboks are able to do that for 50 or 60 minutes of this game, it could get very scary for Wales. It's going to be very interesting also to see how the Welsh crowd reacts to the Welsh team in this game. Are they going to give them the support they deserve of any rugby team playing for their country? Or if the Springboks get off to an early start and put a lot of points on the scoreboard, are they going to turn against this Welsh team? Keep your eye on that one too at the Principality Stadium this weekend. So there's a few players in the Springboks team who have been given their opportunity to show Rassie what they've got. Jordan Hendrickse, of course, is one of those players. Elred Lowe again is getting a start. Hanekom, of course, coming in and playing in this particular game off the bench is going to get his opportunity. And I think this is all very important for Rassie to be able to determine how he's going to kick off 2025 with what Springbok team. I'm expecting to see a more settled Springbok squad next year, as Rassie's done a lot of experimentation this year, and he's seen what players are able to step up and being that preferred team that he wants to put out against the top teams in the world. What does this game mean for Warren Gatland? Well, first of all, it could be his last in charge of the Welsh team, but also I think the Wales team and Warren Gatland will want to take a lot of pride away from this game and having a good performance. That doesn't just necessarily trying to win the game, but also doing very well against the Springbok team and being competitive. Now, as we saw last weekend between the All Blacks and France, you don't actually have to win a game to play a good game of rugby and for the game to be very exciting for all the fans. So let's hope that at least we get that outcome between Wales and South Africa this weekend. So there you go, those are my thoughts. I think South Africa are going to be too strong and too big for Wales. I think they're going to put on 40 points at least against this Welsh team, but I hope to see a lot of pride from this Welsh team, and I like to see their young players, particularly Murray at fullback and Rogers on the wing, really give it a go and see whether they can do some exciting plays that lead to tries for this Wales team. That's what I'm hoping for this weekend. Now let me know in the comments what you think about this game. Is it going to be that one-sided that we're all probably expecting? Or do some of you give Wales a chance to actually have a go against the Springboks team? I'd be really interested to see in the comments. Now don't forget, I'm making these videos with my love and passion, so please, if you can, give this video a thumbs up. Also subscribe to the channel. 80% of people who watch my videos on a regular basis are not subscribers. That hurts me in the heart a little bit, so see if you can fix that one for me. And I look forward to seeing you all across the weekend with all the other games that are taking place in this season's Autumn International Series. I'll be back after this game with a full review and give you all the details, ball by ball play, as well as those players that stood out for me, and whether or not the strategy the coaches came up with for this game actually worked out for their respective team. So until then, you stay safe, stay well, keep enjoying your rugby across the world. So I'll see you again very soon from a very wet and a little bit chillier Cancun in Mexico very soon. Until next time, it's adios from me. See you all again soon. Bye for now.